think that the defensive fouls getting called in the playoffs have been jarring and have completely like tanked the Detroit's defense. I think that there is this idea that, or there's this like generally prevalent idea that refs swallow their whistles in the postseason, and that, you know, so free throw merchants, quote unquote, are going to struggle more in the playoffs and all of those kinds of things as a result. But at least one, that's not supported by the data, because we know that generally more fouls are called in the playoffs than the regular season. And at least early in the playoffs, as of like 5 days ago or something like that, there was a report that the refs are calling 11% more fouls per game in the playoffs this season than the regular season, which would be one of the largest gaps in NBA history, and probably the largest since like the 1950s. 11% more fouls per game in the playoffs. And that is, I said per game, so that doesn't even account for the pace differential from regular season to playoffs, which obviously the pace goes down in the playoffs. So the foul rate have increased astronomically in the playoffs. We can talk about it in terms of percentages. And I think Detroit definitely felt the brunt of this defensively. I think the reason that the Cavs had a great time exploiting Detroit's defense is because of the fouls. Like, I think that is a primary reason. I think that they had to scale back their physicality, and that defense is built on physicality. You and I have talked about this early in the season. We talked about, I mentioned wanting to do a video essay basically about like how Detroit has the most foul frequency team in the league, and also being a top 2 defense. That is rarely has been seen in NBA history. Normally, if you foul a lot, you're not a great defense. But Detroit fouls so much that they only get called for a percentage of their fouls, and that allows them to be such a really good defense. Now they just started getting called for every foul. Like they start getting called like 100% of the time. I mean, even in this game 7, Cleveland's free throw rate was 52%. 52% free throw rate. Detroit had 31 fouls in this game, and their foul rate went up from already a league high to like 4 percentage points higher against the Cavs in this series. That is crazy. You can't survive if you're just fouling like that at that rate. And that's how the refs are calling these playoffs. So I think that was the undoing for Detroit, actually. I don't really think it's like anything that Cleveland was doing that was particularly special besides drawing fouls. Like, and Detroit just like not being able to play physically. If they can't play physically, they're not going to be the defense that we saw them being all season.